In Microsoft Teams, you should start by building out individual teams, which are groups of people that you will be communicating with. You can and probably will have multiple teams of people that you will organize based on whatever groupings make sense for your organization. Building your teams is the first and most important step in getting organized. Now, the first time you sign into your account in Teams, you may be prompted to create a new team, but we're going to disregard that and start here on the main interface. I want to take a look at the sidebar on the left and make sure that the Teams category is selected. Then, moving to the right, we see this column. This is a list of all of the teams that you have. And this list is empty for me because I don't have any teams yet. So let's create a new team. At the bottom of this list, there's a button here that says Add Team. So I'll click on that. So from here, we see this option for suggested teams. When you create teams, they can be private or they can be public. If another person in your organization creates a public team, then you may see it on this list as a suggested team that you can join. But I'm not really interested in that. I want to focus on creating my own new team. So I'm going to point at this one tile that says Create a Team and hit the button that says Create Team, and now we can get started. Now, any user can create a new team. You do not have to be an administrator for this. And naturally, you can create lots of teams, and they can all have different members, and they can even have some of the same members. A team should have some logical grouping to it. This might correspond to your organization's departmental structure. Maybe you'll make a team for the design department and another for your engineers and so on. Now, you could create a team according to specific projects, but you might want to save that for channels, which we'll talk about in a separate movie. And this will make more sense as we go. But for now, I'm going to make a team for my web development people. So under the team name, I'm just going to call this Web Development. Next, there's the description field, and it's a really good idea to give this a good description. But for now, just for demo purposes, I'm going to put in something short. And then there's this privacy option. If you create a private team, the other members of your organization will not see it unless you invite them to join. And that's the standard, so I'm going to stick with private, and I'm going to hit Next. And now the team has been created, but now it's prompting me to add people to the team. I can add anybody from my Office 365 organization, anybody from my company or school or other institution that's part of my organization's Office 365 business or Office 365 enterprise deployment. All I need to do is type in a person's email address, or I can just type in their regular name, and it will search my organization for that person. So I want to add a teammate named Bobby, and actually his proper name is Robert. So if I start typing in his name, I don't even have to finish. It's already performed the search. It found him in my organization, so I can select him, I can hit Add, and now he's been added to the team. And I've added my first member. Now, I'm a member, so technically I have two members now. So I see Robert has been added to this list, and there's a little menu here. He's currently set as a member. A standard member in a team will have somewhat limited controls. An owner will be able to do a lot more than a member can. We'll talk more about this when we get into settings later in the course. The person who creates the team by default is the owner, and everybody else you add by default is a member. But as the owner, I have the ability to change that, and I can give somebody else owner permissions, which gives them a little bit more control. But for now, I'm just going to leave him set as a member. And so I've added this person to the team. Now, naturally, I'm going to want to add in all of the other people on my team who are web engineers or user interface designers or graphic designers, anybody who might contribute to the building of the website, anybody relevant to this group as I've defined it. But for now, I'm not going to add any more people from this window. For now, I'm just going to hit Done. So I have my team listed here on the Teams list. And I can click on a little menu button. So if I look at the name of the team, to the right of it, there's this button with 3 dots on it. And if I click on that, that's a menu where we get a bunch of options for managing this team. We'll talk about a bunch of these controls as we go through this chapter. But for now, I want to hit the option that says View Team. So here I can see a list of all of the members of this team. And we'll be adding more members in just a moment. But here's an important thing to remember. Every person I add to this team will automatically become a member. They don't have to accept an invitation or do anything to confirm membership. When they sign into Teams, they will see this team in the list of their teams, and they will be able to see all the channels and messages and everything else related to this team that I see here in my account. Okay, so now I want to add some more members to this team. All I need to do is hit this Add Member button. And again, I can search for more people for my team. I can search for their name or their email address as we saw before. So I'm going to search for somebody in my organization named Judson. It finds him here, click on his name, hit add, and now he's been added to the team as well. But there's something else I can do to add people to the team. And for that, I want to jump over to my address book on the Office 365 website. So let's jump over here. This is the Office 365 website. You can get to this at office.microsoft.com, and I've already signed in with my Office 365 account. This is where you can access your Office 365 information and all of the tools related to Office 365. What I want to do is go to my address book. So I can go to the People app. I can do that here, or I can go into the app chooser up here and choose it from there. But I'm just going to choose People right here. And this takes me to my Office 365 address book. This is a list of people that I might want to contact. So if I go to my contact section here, I can see all of the people I've saved in my address book. But also, over here on the sidebar, I want you to look at this section labeled Groups. Groups in Office 365 are a collection of people who you contact, and these groups can be accessed and used in several Office 365 tools. If I go to the main office.microsoft.com webpage again, and I go over to my mail, I can see that groups are listed in the mail application as well, because one main use of groups is to send group email messages. For now, I'm going to go back to the tab with my address book. So I want you to see that I have two groups listed here. This graphic design group is something that I created a while ago. If I click on that, I can see a list of all of the people in that group, just a few people in my organization. But then there's this other group, this web development group. This was just added. When you make a team in Microsoft Teams, it automatically adds that group of people as an Office 365 group. So if I click on this to see the members, I'm going to see the same people who I just added to that group over in Microsoft Teams. Now, this does not work in the other direction. New groups that you create in Office 365 are not added as teams in Microsoft Teams. But when you make a new team in Microsoft Teams, it is added as an Office 365 group. So I want you to keep these two groups in mind. There's the web development group that was created when I created the team, and then there's this graphic designers group that I had previously. With that in mind, let's jump back over to Teams. And when I'm on this screen to add more people to the team, of course I could search for individuals, or I could add an existing Office 365 group. So if I click on this search field and I search for graphic designers, I don't even need to type in the whole thing. It will do the search. It finds that group. I can select it. I can hit add. And I'm going to hit done here. And I can see all of the people who were in that Office 365 group have been added to the list of members on this team. Now I can go back and I can change the status of each of these to an owner or leave them as members. So I can make those changes here. But I want you to see that I have added all of these people to my team by either searching for them individually or adding an existing Office 365 group. Now, clearly, your teams and groups will have a lot more people. This is just a small sample for demonstration purposes. So now I have my first team, and of course, it's listed over here in this column. Now I'll be able to have conversations and send files and do all of the other things that we'll be talking about in this course. And this is just one group of people that I may communicate with. You should feel free to start creating several teams for the different groups in your organization. All you need to do is come back here, hit Add Team down at the bottom of this column, and add as many teams as you need. Even after you've created a team, you still need one more level of organization before you can start a conversation. That's because conversations are organized in something called a channel. Think of it this way. You will be talking about many different topics with your teammates within a specific team. It would be confusing if somebody replied to a question about scheduling when you're in the middle of a meeting about a website redesign. So within each team, you can organize different topics into channels. So I can see the team that I created here in this list. Remember, we're on the teams category, so I can see a list of all of my teams. And so far, I only have one team. What I want to do is click on the little triangle next to the name of the team, which opens it up and shows a little bit more information. And what I see listed here underneath the team is a channel. I have one channel called General. So if for some reason you don't want to worry about setting up multiple channels, you can just use the General channel and then put it out of your mind. So if I select General, this is the screen that I get, and I can start a conversation. I have my text field down here where I can start posting messages. But we're going to talk all about that in another movie. For now, I want to see how we can add more channels. So I'm going to go back up to the team listed over here, and I want to go to this button to the right of the name of the team, this button with 3 dots on it. Click on that, and it opens up a menu. And one of the options in this menu is Add Channel. So if I click on that, I can create a new channel. So let's give this new channel a name. I'm going to call this Home Page Redesign. So every conversation that I want to have related to the redesign of my company's webpage will happen here in this channel. And I could give this a more detailed description if I want to, but just to skip along here, I'm going to hit Add. And now I have a second channel listed under this team. Naturally, anybody in my organization can create a team. And once they've been set as a member of a team, any team member can create a new channel. And within those channels, any active team member can participate in conversations, which we'll see in another movie. On the mobile app for phones and tablets, be aware that you can view all of your teams and channels. You can see the messages and you can write messages, but you cannot create teams and channels on the mobile app. That's one thing that you'll need to do here on the desktop computer. So now I've got my team. I have 2 channels. I have the General channel and the Homepage Redesign channel, and we'll use these as we continue through the chapter. So that's channels, a pretty simple but important layer of organization for your team communication.